storytelling is what sets you apart. People barely remember facts and figures, but they ultimately remember how you make them feel. Hi everyone, welcome back to another solo episode with me, Kelly Lundberg. Today I wanted to discuss something that I believe is so overlooked by senior management. I believe it's overlooked in the leadership department. I believe it's overlooked by entrepreneurs, and that is storytelling. How to tell stories that captivate. This is ultimately what sets your personal brand apart from someone else's. I always say that you are like no one that's ever been created before. There's no one like you that will ever exist before. Therefore, your experiences and everything that you've done up till now and continue to do so have a different narrative from the way that someone else would explain it or the way that someone else would tell it. And that's why storytelling is so crucial. Why don't we tell enough stories? Well, here's a few thoughts of where I've got to over the past few years thinking why my clients don't tell them and what they've told me. Fear of vulnerability. So sharing personal stories can feel a little bit exposing. Many people worry that revealing things about themselves will hinder their professional opinion or will make them seem weak. But the truth is, people are often put off more so by the idea of someone being perfect. And if you think about any movie that you've watched, there's always an underlying flaw of the main character. If you think of Spider-Man, for example, he has the flaws. Superman has the flaws. If you think of any love movie, there's flaws in it as an individual as well. I would also say that people have lack of clarity. So I think this is really crucial when it comes to sharing stories, is that the best storytellers have practiced telling stories, which means they've got a bank of stories that they've worked on to get better and better, which means their point comes over much quicker, more concise, and whether it's education or edutainment or inspiring, any of those ways, the story connects much quicker. So lack of clarity, that comes down to practice, but they think they don't have it. But it's actually getting really clear on what and how you can tell the stories, which I'm going to go into in just a minute. And I think the other aspect is perceived irrelevance. So what do I mean by that? People often underestimate the value of their experience. And I always counteract that with what is obvious to you is amazing to others. Never forget that. What is obvious to you is amazing to others. And here's the thing, storytelling is what sets you apart. People barely remember facts and figures, but they ultimately remember how you make them feel. On a recent episode of the Kelly Lundberg podcast, I had Gian Power in, and he shared this valuable snippet.
It's been around for over 30,000 years, storytelling. And so it goes way back to cavemen and women when they first sat around a fire. The world's changed so much, but one thing hasn't changed much at all, and that's our brains. So our brains are still wired to absorb information in a story format. When you explore and do interjects, I'll go off on passion here with you about storytelling. How do they make a difference? Well, some research from Stanford looked at this, and like how much more memorable is the stuff that you share, whether that's your personal brand, your information about your product or service, when you tell a story. And they found that it was up to 22 times more memorable.
So the challenge of storytelling, in my opinion, having read a ton of books about it and attended classes and created lots of stories myself, ones that have landed really well and maybe some that haven't, is that there's often so many points to telling stories to remember that you actually end up forgetting. I do think of movies that I watched where there's that hero's journey up and down. You're with them emotionally, high moment, low moment, you see their flaws. But then most of us don't have 2.5 hours to actually go through the whole content of a movie in a story. This is why I break it down into something called the 4C framework. So this is something that I've watched from other people, got my own ideas from, and thought, you know what, this works really well for my clients in something that's quite short term in terms of length, short time. So what we look at is context, challenge, confront, and consequence. This is when I help my clients use their content pillars and create fantastic story bank that they can draw on, whether it's in person or online. So in my masterclasses, when I discuss the style pillar in personal branding, people often get quite caught up in what to wear. But in actual fact, style is so much more than just what you wear. It's about the overall aesthetic. It's about your personal brand style when people see it for the first time. which often is through photography. So when I started my business back in 2005, a high-end fashion magazine asked me to send some high-resolution images to accompany an article that they were writing about me. It was amazing exposure. First of all, I had to Google what high resolution meant. A quick search to Google sorted that out. But the reality was, I didn't have any high resolution. I didn't have any pictures to share with them. And I didn't think they were maybe referring to my last picture on holiday. So determined that how hard could it be to take pictures? I dug out the camera that I owned and I thought, who am I going to get to take these pictures? And at the time I was living in a skyscraper in Dubai on Sheikh Zayed Road. And I'd actually had a really good relationship with the security guard. So I thought, I wonder if he'll step in and help me. So as I went down to the reception area, he obliged, and I also said, do you mind if we go outside? I'd read that you get better quality pictures with natural light. So we went outside and we sweated, and when I thought I'd got the winning shot, I went back upstairs and I sent it to the fashion magazine. Needless to say, they came back and they said to me what we meant was professional pictures, and they didn't quite cut it. So I quickly learned that I needed to hire a professional photographer, which is what I did. And I did a whole photo shoot. I thought this was something that was just reserved for celebrities and models and actresses and what have you. But no, it's not. For people in business, it is highly important. And what happened out of that was that I ended up getting so many more features in magazines. I got over 7 front covers in the next couple of years because I had a bank of images. So I tell this story, but what I want to do is break it down into the 4 C's. So if we go back to the story, context. So the context is all about where, when, who is the person. So when I told you about that, the character was me. The time was in 2005, or it was when I first started my business. And a reference thing I gave was I started my business and I was living in Dubai. So I think you'd got the idea of the context. You could visually understand where I was in time. The challenge was I had no images. So how did I confront that challenge? I attempted to take my own, but I soon realized that I needed to book a professional photo shoot because they didn't cut it. So what was the consequence? The consequence was that decision led to so much more in terms of media coverage, but it also got me more than 7 front covers. That is the framework. What I don't want you to be doing is going in to tell stories and go, so the context of this story, or how I confronted the challenge was, or the consequence of the story, or the moral of this story is. This is framework for you to get a better idea and how you share something that inspires someone really quickly and adds value to it as well. Storytelling is an incredibly powerful tool that can really help differentiate your personal brand from someone else's. If you would like some support with creating captivating stories for your personal brand, then get in touch. There's a link below for you to book a call with the team and find out which one of our services can help you when it comes to making your personal brand stand out. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye. Wondering which platform is best for building your personal brand on? LinkedIn is the place to be. Many of my clients, as well as people that I meet at events, are often really nervous and don't know where to start when it comes to getting out content and building relationships on this fantastic social media platform. And that's exactly why I created How to Grow Your Personal Brand on LinkedIn. I actually got that name from Instagram when I asked my followers which one did they think was the best. That was the one they chose. This course is designed to help you share content that's personal and professional, that connects with your personal brand values, but more than that, just how can you grow long-lasting relationships on a platform with people all over the world. For my listeners, or for those that are watching this, I'm offering this 9-step module, which is really easy to complete in the next couple of hours for just $47. Click the link below, purchase it straight away, and then come and say hi on LinkedIn. I'd love to see what you've updated.